All right, so I'm here outside the 5900 site, which some of you guys have seen me do video from before, with Sarah Coffey.
Hi.
Hi.
I hope you guys don't mind. I'm trying to leave after a very long and productive weekend, but so I'm doing some stuff while we're talking.
All right, cool. So, Sarah, first of all, the question I generally ask somebody is, how do they get involved with activism? Like, was there a point in your life where you could remember not being an activist and then changing?
Yeah. I think what the World Trade Organization protests in Seattle in '99. Before that, maybe I had gone to like a anti-police brutality march, but I didn't consider myself an organizer, or I wouldn't have said that I was politically active or political. So that was definitely a turning point.
That's excellent. What did you experience there?
It was kind of the process of watching something that had integrity, where, it didn't work perfect, but, it was clear that people had the intention to share power and be inclusive and challenge power in ways that reflected our own politics and also, just the power of mass movements.
Right. Oh, I definitely feel you there. That was definitely the way it was for me the first time I went to the Occupy camp in Detroit. So, although I'd been an activist before that, there really wasn't much going on in Michigan that I was feeling on the same level, I guess. But now, how did it progress from there? I mean, I know we've discussed this ourselves. Like, you consider yourself an anarchist. What does that mean to you?
That is more than 2 minutes worth of discussion, but I think the short answer to that is I believe that people should have control over the decisions that affect their lives. I believe in sharing power, in horizontal power, as opposed to having power over people or, top-down power. I think it means I believe in our individual ability to change. There's a lot of different things, but one of my friends just walked up, so.
So we're back.
Yes.
People having more control over the decisions that affect their lives, things like that.
Well, to me, I guess anarchism is there's a lot written about it that I feel like is very valuable. But to me, really simply, it's just the things that make sense in life. If you value other people's freedom as much as you value your own, like being decent to each other, mutual aid, it's just things that people just kind of know on a basic human level.
Right.
But it's so alien from how political power has been produced throughout history, throughout the world, that there, as a political idea, people don't get something that is more democratic than democracy, and anarchism has been, kind of like the whole, reefer madness, there was a political agenda, that went behind a massive PR campaign to paint anarchists as a particular thing.
Yes, it's always a guy holding a Molotov cocktail with a mask on his face or something. It's not.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The thing that I think of is just less the images, but more the content. The idea that anarchy means no order, no structure, chaos. Although I think it can mean those things, I also think that for me, I am probably one of the most structure and process oriented, Inuit people, so I just think that people have a very, shallow kind of understanding.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so much about it too. I mean, have you ever looked at the different anarchist schools and how sometimes they can be so diverse, like anarcho-capitalism, anarcho-syndicalism, anarcho-primitivism?
I don't consider anarcho-capitalism real anarchism.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I do not speak for all anarchists everywhere, so.
Right, of course.
Yes, But yeah, definitely. There are a lot of different schools. There's a lot of different ways to interpret those ideas, for sure. And who's to say what's right?
Sure. Well, that's actually something I concentrate on quite a bit, even with the anarcho-capitalists that I know, is that it sure would be great if the anarchists would stop fighting each other and bickering about how they all want to be stateless and without force or coercion. Like, okay, well, it's okay if they want to be anarcho-capitalists and you want to be anarcho-communists. If you're not going to hurt each other, then stop arguing about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Ideas are very important, so I think that we do have to debate ideas. I do also think that, have you ever heard the term the circular firing squad of the left?
No, please.
Yeah. No, it's self-explanatory. Just that we are not aiming at the right targets.
Yes.
We're just aiming at each other, and so...
Well, that's true even though of conservative and supposedly libertarian and right activists. When I was in the Libertarian Party, they were vicious with each other. They were always just never-ending fighting each other. And I think so many of us who call out to these freedom movements, it's like we have an inner displeasure with anything that resembles authoritarianism that we can almost become like so hypersensitive to it you can't even like have a conversation with somebody who might be a little assertive without getting uncomfortable. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, where do you see the movement going next?
I'm not sure, but I think that I see vast potential. I don't know in terms of like the national movement, but here in Detroit, after this conference was so good, and there were a lot of the people who had a lot to teach, and a lot of people who had all of us had a lot to teach and a lot to learn, and so I think the conference was very, very good for us. And moving forward, I don't want to gooch anything by talking about like plans that people have been talking about, but
sure.
Really interesting and hopefully potentially very exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for giving me a few minutes, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.